I'm going to share with you, and we're going to go right into this, but I'm going to kind of share with you my journey into what now they're calling vibe coding. And I'm sure you've seen it, but it's important that I want you to follow along here. So at first, well, first of all, you've all seen it. You've all seen these TikTok videos and these YouTube videos of boom, code, just, things just being built. And I'm going to show you that. That is definitely reality. But I'm just going to kind of take you real quick through my journey because it probably should be your journey as well. A lot of you have Chat GPT Pro or Google Gemini, and I call those generative AI foundational tools. For this video, we're just going to call that AI because AI is a big, broad topic. So I'm just going to say, when I say AI right now for this, what we're going to be talking about is ChatGPT, these kind of tools, right? And a lot of recruiters, this is like the pro edition, right? And a lot of people think, yeah, no, I've got I understand, I understand what ChatGPT can do. But as I was taking these courses, I stumbled across something that totally blew my mind. And it was this article about chain of thought reasoning. But in the demo, what this person had done is they used custom instructions. When you're building a custom GPT, you've got custom instructions in your own settings, in ChatGPT. And Claude, you've got custom settings. But when they came out with projects, so I'm in ChatGPT Pro, when they came out with projects, they let you build your own custom instructions in here, right? And what I realized is that we could actually make little programs inside of the tools we already had. Now, I don't know, I'm going to date myself, but do you remember back in the day, you go to Best Buy or these computer, these places where you would actually buy one piece of software and you'd load it and you would work on it. And that's the kind of mindset I had. And what you can do is you can build what I call personas. So like my dad is Al, he's no longer with us, but my mom is Norma, right? And then I've got a coach. So what I wanted to do was create little personas so that when I'm working on something, I could actually do this, Al. And that would actually hail, like in Star Trek, my wisdom coach, right? Just by programming something into your custom instructions. Like I'm just going to put start. Oops, that didn't work. I can go click start. Let me stop it. Go again. And your ChatGPT won't do this. If you hit /start, this ain't going to work, right? But what we've done, or what I've learned to do, is by thinking in advance, what are some things that I want to do? I could go here, coach. And what this does, it activates coach mode, right? And now it's like, hey, let's cut the fluff. Let's move fast. No overthinking. This becomes my one-on-one coach, right? So what I do is I set up projects as little workspaces. All right. And you don't really even need to use custom GPTs anymore because these tools like Gemini, Google Gemini has gems. That's a project. Claude has them. Everyone kind of has them now, right? But what you can do is get into, first you have an idea of what you want to do. What is someone you need? Do you need a financial consultant? Do you need an attorney? Do you need a sourcing expert? Whatever it is you need, have ChatGPT help you. And I use a free product called Whisper Flow. It's downloaded on my Mac where I can just talk. It saves me time. But you could just kind of talk to ChatGPT and sit there and say, hey, help me make a custom instructions that's going to be my financial coach. And then when I hit /coach, I want you to switch. I want you to activate that persona. And this is not necessarily a deep dive on how to, but I'll show you what I call my first little co-pilot. This is about 2.5 years ago, right? This was cutting edge 2.5 years ago. But I've actually, I just assume everyone knows this. And I want you to look at my custom instructions, okay? Let's see if I can make this look nice. Your core function is to streamline the recruitment workflow by providing intelligent assistance, right? I give it some core principles, but here's the logic. And I say, look, when I hit scorecard, your purpose is to analyze the job, and I go on. I thought about my recruiting process personally, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to create a prompt. And a prompt, if you don't know, just a little set of instructions. I'm not going to do this over and over again, right? So I built this little what I call my co-pilot. Now, I used to love ChatGPT, still love them, but Google Gemini, since I'm a Google person, I've got my resumes in folders, I've got my jobs in folders, and I want you to see the power of this. Okay, so I'm in Google Gemini, I'm in a gem that I've built with custom instructions. I get a new job, right? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say slash scorecard. This is my way of working, right? So that tells it, hey, get into that. Instead of writing a long prompt, this is just a shortcut that just with that, almost like a play in football or a code. When I say diamond, you do this action. It's a little program, right? Now, the power comes in because Gemini has full integration. Now, yesterday, ChatGPT came out with their new connections. Claude Anthropic, or Anthropic Claude came out with connections, and but this is the real deal because I can sit there and go to my, you see, docs, right? And I know that my doc is going to be, I kind of know that I remember the name of it for this demo, and it was called a demo job. So right away, just this here, let me see if I can zoom in. Just this is doing three things. Scorecard is telling it a command that I've already built in my custom instructions. My at Google Docs is telling it, look in my docs folder. And I kind of said demo job because that's my best guess at what the job description is going to build. And I'm gonna hit go. Okay. What it's done is it's gone out and found this job description that I saved in my Google Docs. All right. Then it has built a criteria scorecard because I pre-programmed it, because that's the way I work every day. I pre-programmed that in my custom instructions. I have told it, number one, I know it's not that clear, but here, let me try to find number one here. And I'll kind of separate it here. I have told it right here, scorecard, right? And there's the prompt I use to create a scorecard. And this is just a demo. I would encourage you to take the time and actually, let me go to my chat, go back to where we were. And the cool thing, by the way, about these projects or gems, any conversation you have, it gets organized within that folder. So when I'm actually doing work, every job, every project has its own folder. And that way, these tools know what the heck I'm talking about, and you get some consistency and you build in some knowledge. But let's jump back in. So first thing, I get this job. I'm like, oh man, I've got 4 or 5 jobs now. I want you to break this down, and I use a weighted scorecard. Okay. And you can see that it actually it goes back to the reference because these tools do hallucinate, or they make stuff up, or they get it wrong. So it's always nice. I always ask it to show their work. So then I've got this weighted scorecard, and this is just a demo. My real one gets more in depth. And I talk to the client. And I say, hey, is this right? Are we agreed on this job criteria? Before we go sourcing and searching and doing all this cool stuff, I get alignment on this, right? And once we get this, they're like, yes, go for it. That's exactly what we need. Awesome. That's my scorecard, right? Then my next command is sourcing. Once again, let's see if it catches it. Sometimes it wants me to go out and find it, but it did it here. So just by me going sourcing, I've turned my 25 years of experience into this. It did all this. You saw this. It was in seconds. It knows how I like to build my Boolean search strings, right? It tells me where to look. And it'll give me, and this, by the way, will continue to go on and give me a short list and give it'll go on and on. But for this demo, you saw how quick that was, right? I just did sourcing. And then let's say I want to make a post. Let's see if this works. So then by clicking post, I have pre-programmed to say, hey, turn this job description into a social media post with appropriate emojis and hashtags. And if you're getting confused, you're like, wait a minute, what? In my custom instructions, I have pre-programmed it to say when I hit /sourcing, do that command, take that action. All right. And this will go on. I mean, I could do outreach. No, I forget. I do so many of these so many of these things. I haven't programmed it. But that's what you're gonna get if you do outreach. I have it to it'll make entire sequences. But let's continue. Let's do this here. Let's put this. I'm gonna do matcher, right? And I'm gonna say at, right? And we're gonna go to my drive, right? And then we're gonna say my demo. That's the folder, pretty much. And then I'm gonna say, look for any resumes. Look for any resumes. Now, what I've just done, Matcher tells it to go out, finding the resumes and see how well they match to that job. Google Drive, I'm telling it, go look at my Google Drive. That's where I save my resumes, right? My demo was like, I'm pretty sure that's my folder name. And I just say, hey, look for any resumes. So just imagine if you had all your resumes for one project saved in one folder. You could just I just basically ran analysis. Now, for some reason, it just looks a little funny here, but don't let that mess you up. But what it's really doing is it's matching, right? How well David Chen, Jane Doe. It goes and it keeps going, looking through all the resumes, and it tells you who's the best match, right? And then it gives me a little summary. Hey, here's your strongest match. Not bad. So this was my first aha moment. And by the way, just those are commands. But if I were to say, if I have had a hard day, I would hail my mom. Oh, Norma isn't set up. Never mind. Oh, brief. This is, I get this question a lot in my training. A lot of you hopefully you've realized the power of transcripts. The one thing that I think AI has really, really, really changed sales and recruitment is hopefully you understand how important meeting transcripts, interview transcripts are. There's a few companies that do this really well, MetaView and Quill, 40, 50 bucks a month. What you do is you attach it to your Zoom call, and everyone knows now on these Zoom and Team and Google meeting calls, you get all these AI assistants, right? But here's the thing, it allows me to talk to a candidate. Of course, I have AI create an interview kind of a screen so I can ask really, really good questions from that person's resume that are really relevant. And I'm not just asking the same questions over and over again. It really gets them to open up. But I'm having Zoom save my transcripts to a folder, right? And so then you don't really, I love these companies, but MetaView, Quill, I mean, all of those are, like most software, they're just prompts. And so let me give you an example. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say brief, right? Because sorry. Let me stop you there. I'm going to hit brief, which is kind of like my MetaView. I'm going to hit at. We're going to go for Drive. Go to my Google Drive, my demo folder. And then I'm going to look for, let's say I just got off the phone and had an amazing phone call with this candidate named Jane Doe. So you saw what I just did. Brief, Google Drive, my transcript's saved. We're on live TV here, and that didn't work. Let's see here. Brief. And then we're going to go to Drive. Demo. We'll give it one more shot. There it is. So I did brief. Look at my Google Drive under my demo. Look for the transcript. Now, it just did what Quill and MetaView did. Here, here's candidate's name, here's the interview, compensation, it gives me timestamps, strings and highlight, potential red flags, compensation issues. I ask it to give me action items, my overall impressions, relevant skills. Boom, I copy and paste that, and I can do whatever you need to do with that. So this was my first, holy moly, we can build in intelligence and programming just in the $20 version of these tools. ChatGPT does the same thing. All right. I'm going to keep like this one here, demo. If you look at the custom instructions, right, it just has all the little things that I use. And I used ChatGPT. It's called meta prompting. I use ChatGPT to help me build a prompt for ChatGPT. So I would say, you know, help me build some custom instructions for a project so that when I do slash sourcing as a command, it'll turn a job description into a very organized Boolean search string. So that's me talking to my chat, right? Because I don't just come up with the logic myself. I have ChatGPT help me come up with the answers. And so it'll go, and they're my custom instructions, right? And blah, 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 blah. So that was my first aha moment, right? So if we're kind of staying on track, that was like, oh, cool. Second big aha moment was when ChatGPT and all these tools came up with something called Canvas, right? So if you're in the Pro edition, you go to Tools, and by the way, ChatGPT is going back and forth on what they named this because other people have jumped on it. But ChatGPT was the first person to use the word Canvas. Now, when I click on Canvas, it's telling ChatGPT that we're going to start working on a different canvas. It's like, think of Google Docs, right? So let's see here. Most people use Canvas. Now, I'm just showing you because I've selected Canvas, it should think, wait a minute, I don't have a resume yet. What I'm trying to show you is what just happened was because I selected Canvas, I'm chatting now in the left, but on the right side now, I've got this new thing. It's a document. It's like no longer do you have to cut and paste and go to Docs. So that was kind of cool. So you could kind of work on documents and proposals here. But then I realized accidentally that in this canvas, it actually runs code. And I did this accidentally. I was trying to do something. All of a sudden, it started building things, right? I'm going to see if I can show you. I've got like a bunch of things I want to show you here. So just bear with me. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Let's turn this into a landing page. So that's me talking on the left. Since I've got Canvas open, it's probably going to see it's working right now, turn a little gray. Since I've got Canvas open and I've told it, well, it knows what a landing page is. A landing page is a 1 or 2 page website, right? And I didn't give it much information. I'm going to try to show you a pre-done demo of, here, let me do something. Bear with me. I'm going to show you my first little web app scorecard here. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. And because if you don't understand what I kind of just went over, ChatGPT is acting funny right now. If you don't understand what I just, then it's going to be a problem getting more complex, right? Because all I did was I started having this logical conversation with ChatGPT. So I started talking to ChatGPT and it started writing code because I had Canvas in, right? Now, whenever you have different canvases, it saves them in the top right. So let's do this. So I started asking it, golly, I wish I could just upload a job description and you can create that scorecard for me. But I want to see if you could match candidates because my ATS doesn't do it. And so it's code here, but if I hit preview, all of a sudden, what? we have this, I mean, this, we have a fully working web app here. Now, since I don't think it's really going to work, but let me show you because this is an older code. But I paste the resume, I mean, a job description. And when I save it, what just happened? It created a scorecard. And I just liked it because it looked nice, right? And this probably isn't going to work just because I was trying to, had a student and we were trying to build, I was sharing the code with them. But as you add candidates, and yeah, it's not working. As you upload candidates, it'll actually show in the radar chart how everything matches, and it creates a little chart. But the main thing was that I never left ChatGPT. Like it built, this is a little web app and it built it, right? Then I had a student ask me, how could we use this for sourcing, right? And I don't know if you remember a long time ago, people used to build custom Google search engines. Now they're called programmable engines. But this right here, I want to hit edit. This is all code. I talked on the right, on the left, I mean, and it built this code. And I kind of just said, hey, we used to use these custom search engines to do sourcing, and it would kind of use Google to scrape LinkedIn. Anyway, let me show you here. Machine learning engineer, Austin, Texas. So what just happened here is I'm in ChatGPT Pro, the $20 version, and I built a sourcing tool. Let's just say back in the day we couldn't afford LinkedIn Recruiter, but instead of doing site search, and there it is, it finds all the individuals. In essence, what we're doing here, so you see Google programmable search engine. You go here. I have a bunch of them started from a long time ago, but you just kind of pre-program these custom search engines to look and do site searches, right? Remember this? The X-ray searches where you do site, right? LinkedIn, and you can kind of put in keywords and it finds people, right? Well, all you're doing in these custom search engines is you're pre-programming them, and that's a different time. But the cool thing was that I was able to bring it in to ChatGPT. So this is a sourcing tool that lives in my ChatGPT, and you can share this with your team, right? And I'm using it because I connected it to that Google Search API. I didn't know how to do that, but in my chat, I would sit there and I would say, how did we connect this to the Google search engine? Right. And literally hours going back and forth. Well, this React app connects to Google search engine using the API. Right. And it just walks me through it. Right. It walks me through it. Here's my API key. Okay. And then I would literally say, where do I get my API key from Google? And we would just do step by step and lots of coffee. And it would say, oh, go here, go here. A key that you can do is say, I'm not a developer, so take me step by step. When you take it step by step, step one, go to the console. Step two, do this, right? And over again, pretty soon, I had a sourcing tool. So that was okay, cool. I went from making little logical, what I call promptware, turning prompts into software, into an actual little program, right? That, by the way, you can create a link and share it with your team. I really focus on internal teams at this point because I'm not a developer. I don't really want to worry about security and scalability. These are internal tools that you can build to do things, right? So that was pretty cool. I'm gonna do a time check. 9:35. Okay. Now I'm gonna just show you another thing, and the reason I bring this up is because a lot of individuals, a lot of my students, see here, they tell me that they're not happy with the way ChatGPT writes. They're not happy with the way it sounds, a lot of individuals say, nah, AI will never replace people. I mean, the writing, it's not good enough, right? And give me a second. I'm going to pull up so using that logic that I used in the first example, I did this for a client. They wanted what I call a style shifter. Recruiters aren't great writers. Some of us are. I'm not. If you are, it's by accident. How do we have teams of people producing writing material that's on brand? Second, how do I get ChatGPT to write like me? Right. So that got me into 3 or 4 days of learning reverse engineering, neurolinguistics, and all these cool things. So here's what I did. I wanted to turn any boring job description into a brand. And so what I did was I started off with this. I don't know if you can hear it. So this is an amazing video I got from Apple.
To the constant beginners who sing off key against the beat. To those unfamiliar with convention, unmoved by rules, and reborn with every new discovery. Those open to daydreams and night dreams.
From Apple's talent acquisition site, right? And what I did was I recorded it in Loom, which gave me the transcript of the video. Transcripts are gold. Then, once I got the transcript of that video, I did some prompting and got a command and says, okay, when I do Apple, you are tasked with mimicking the poetic and contemplative writing style of Apple's brand. This is the result of prompting. I got the transcript, and with prompt, I wanted it to analyze and grab the concentrate of what Apple's voice is, right? And then I put it here in a command. I did the same thing with Boeing, different brand.
The pursuit
is in all of us.
A common calling to protect,
connect,
and explore.
A drive to look beyond what is.
Ask, what if?
And define what will be.
A commitment to safety and quality above all.
From every person,
growing with every day. Because working toward a better future
requires more than a legacy of excellence.
It demands a constant pursuit.
I won't go over the whole video, but the reason I'm showing you two is because I want you to see what it can do. So now, hang with me here. Now I get a job description written. It's actually a Lockheed Martin. I just picked it randomly, but whatever. So let's just say now, and if I made the command Apple and Boeing. So now I'm doing my thing, and someone says, hey, we need this job description, but we need it on brand. So now I can go / Apple because we've programmed it, right? And then I'm gonna paste the job. And let's see what it writes. So we went, not the most exciting job description, to be honest, and I did that on purpose. 2, where bold minds meet quiet revolutions. In a world moving at light speed, where look at this writing, right? But your work is not defined by code alone. You'll be a translator between minds, bridging engineers, stakeholders. Now, let's get the same job description. Okay, same job description, but we're going to do a different command. We're going to do Boeing. Now, same thing, but now you're going to see a little bit different. Secure the mission, shape the future. Innovation isn't a buzzword, it's a responsibility. Where are we getting this from? We're getting this from that video transcription. Okay? So in my class, what I do is I have you talk to Zoom. I'm giving you a little bit of a hint here. You have ChatGPT create a Q&A questions 10, 12 questions. Like, it's going to ask you the question. You're going to have Zoom recording, and then you're going to answer. The way you answer is the way you communicate. It becomes a transcript. We prompt that transcript to get your style guide. We then save that style guide either in your custom instructions or in a project. So whenever you need something to sound like you, to sound like your brand, or to sound like your client's brand, that's how simple it is. Okay. Now, this took a long time to do for me, but this is what I want to teach you. So whenever you hear or whenever you find yourself going, oh, I hate the way ChatGPT or these writing tools, it doesn't sound like me. It'll never replace humans. What I hear is you don't understand prompt engineering, prompting frameworks, and you're not thinking logically on how to reverse engineer things, right? So ChatGPT is trained on a huge body of knowledge. If you're my students, you're probably tired of me saying this, but imagine walking into a huge library. That's ChatGPT. It knows everything about everything. Okay. It has been trained on all human knowledge. But when you want it to write an email, it doesn't know where you're coming from. So when you walk into the library, first you have to say, hey, is there like a human resources section or a marketing section? She'll go, oh yeah, 4th floor, that section. And then you go to the section and then there's different, remember the bookstores? So that's what you have to do to ChatGPT. You have to say, look, are you familiar with employment branding and voice and branding? Yes. Okay. And you start priming it. You start having this conversation with ChatGPT to start focusing it to what you want. I always start off with, are you familiar with this? How would you do this? Do you know best practices for this? Then act as my branding coach, my writing coach, act as my email coach, and help me turn this into this. And it becomes a habit, but you've got to learn it. And I'm telling you this, the one thing that I want you to know out of this is, and this is not just me, this is from other professionals, there is not one task that a recruiter, a salesperson, a manager, or leader can do that we cannot train these AI tools to do. But the key word is train. So 2 or 3 years ago, I was having little comments on LinkedIn like, no, they'll never replace recruiters. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, if you will let me sit with you or your team and we were just record your meetings, if you were to get your best producer, record their Zoom calls, how do they interview? How are they doing sales calls? Look at their emails, protect the people's data. There's way to anonymize it. You could get the essence of the best person of your company and then save it to a project. And then when you get someone new, have them go through that. And you're just sharing that knowledge. That is a big aha moment. And it doesn't take any coding. It just takes some training and then willingness to do this. Now, yes, it could replace you, but that's not how I think about it. It is, I'm not the best writer. I'm not the best. I'm good at this, but in my company, I need to do these things. I'm responsible for those tasks. So how can each little project, I can break down, this is my accounting, this is my email, this helps me with my one-on-ones. If I were a manager now, I'd have a project with one-on-ones and all my employees, we'd have a transcript and I could just get ready for my one-on-one. And I would say, Larry's one-on-one. And it would say, last one-on-one, we talked about this. Larry mentioned this. You were going to help him do this. And now we have this ongoing conversation that lives in the projects. Yeah, that sounded weird in the project. So that is the logic, right? That is the logic behind any of this. So now when you see like, how are they creating images? How are they creating websites? How are you creating clones? It always starts with have an idea of what you want the end to look like and then share it. I love sharing screenshots with ChatGPT. And I say, Can you see what I'm looking at? Like if you're in Workday, you did a screenshot of your dashboard, or you were in Tableau, or you were in Excel, and you took a screenshot, and you're like, "Can you see my screen?" It's like, "Yeah." Like, how that? And help me fix this. Why isn't this formula working? It knows. You start helping it. So you've got to make that bridge to stop thinking of ChatGPT and these AI tools as a tool. Start asking it. Start talking to it. Everything, and it'll start learning. And yeah. All right, now I'm just gonna the last 15 minutes here. I'm gonna do some fun stuff. So, and by the way, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, DeepSeek. I don't really mess with Grok that much. Those are all competitors. Think of Honda, Ford, Chevy, right? They're all competing with one another. The one that you cannot use, or like Microsoft Copilot. That's not even real. That's not a real AI tool. Don't know how they're making it. I mean, I don't know how they're keeping up with everybody, but that's not. You cannot use that to do these kinds of things. Not yet. But anything else you can. Now, the next aha moment was using tools like Replit.com or Lovable. These were tools where you can click on create an app. Let's just do. I was hoping that someone would give me a project to work on, but some of these have templates already. But you could just say, create a modern web app for recruiters that allows them to share a job description, and the tool will create a requirement criteria table, condensing all the knowledge of that job into a weighted scorecard. And then the recruiter can share resumes, and this app will match the resume to the job. So, I mean, this is nothing fancy, right? I'm gonna hit start. And at the same time, by the way, so it's all we're doing, by the way, is the same thing as if what we do with ChatGPT and adding Canvas. Okay, it's the same thing. You're writing, it's coding. It's just that some of these. So I want you to watch. We're watching live, right? It named it Recruit Scorecard, right? A modern recruitment. Now you're watching this live, so it's building. These things have, just like what we talked about here. I'm going to prove the plan, and you're going to watch it build. Just like we programmed those custom instructions in Project, they've just pre-programmed it. They have a process, right? First, understand the user's design plan. Now you're watching this live. I didn't know how this was going to go, but this is live and it's building it. Now, I don't know about you, but this blows me away. It is building a modern SaaS web app right in front of our eyes. Zero coding experience. My prompt wasn't even that good, because in reality, I would work with ChatGPT and I would say, hey, I'm going to be using one of these AI coding tools called Replit.com. Are you familiar with that? Yeah. So help me create a plan. Well, and I would really create a very tight plan. But you saw this. I just talked, and there it is. It's building it. Right. That's pretty cool. Then, now I'll give you a warning, because I've built about 11 web apps so far. It's really good. These tools are really good at building things fast, right? But then when you want to start sharing it, and when you want to start doing things, you start realizing, like, this is almost ready. All right. It's built the back end. It's built everything. Okay. It's testing it now. And when you're ready, you hit deploy. But then there's all kinds of things after months and months and months and months, or not months, hours and hours and hours and weeks of me doing this. I've realized, oh, shoot, you just start assuming that it knows everything, but you're like, oh, how do I log in? How do I keep others from using this? How do I authenticate users? How do I reset my password? Because when you reset your password, the app has to email you. Well, you haven't set that up yet. You've got to connect to SendGrid. No, all of a sudden, there's a whole other layer of things that you need to do, right? But for the most part, you just need a really, really good idea, and you can build these web apps, right? just to kind of show you my pride and joy, which has over, I don't know how many hundreds of hours of coding. I started using this, right? And I'll show you what it looks like. Getting ready to launch. It's called Connexy. The use case was I was contracting at a company, and then the end client was PayPal. As a lot of you know who are recruiters, I'm going to sign in. A lot of you who are like third-party recruiters or staffing firms, whatever it is, you know that you can't, when you're going to try to source and send out information, the candidate is going to want to know more information. What's the job description? What does it pay? But you can't send them to the client's career site because you won't get credit. And that was the case. So what I needed was like a ClickFunnels landing page quickly. I needed something quick, right? So I needed something, and I'll just use this as an example. Let's just say this was, let me pick a different job because I've used this one job over and over again. Let's just say I was working this job, which I'm not, but this is an example. And I needed a quick landing page because I'm using one of, I'm sending out 300 emails and I want them to click on a link. But if they click on this link, I don't get credit. So I built Connexy. So what you do is you create a page, recruiter, import. What it's doing is I've connected it to OpenAPI and I've connected it to a scraper, right? So then I hit process the job. And what I needed to do is I couldn't have a big glob of text, the job description, because in the compensation part, I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Here it's done. Wouldn't it be cool? See, so what it did is it got all the little, it kind of just separated everything. And I'll show you why that's important when I go to Connect. Here's all my pages. But when I create the page, I want it to be able to lock compensation. So if you want to see the comp, I'll share it, but I need your information, right? So that was a way of me getting leads, right? And they can take an assessment. If they do this, I get their name and it goes to my Calendly, or they can say snooze, contact me, refer a friend. It's just a simple landing page, but on the back end, because I need data, my clients want data, I can show all the conversion rates of each little job, all right? And then I thought, well, shoot, at PayPal, I have more than one job. Like some of the candidates were saying, well, do you have anything senior? Do you have anything at a different location? So, we'll create Connexy boards, right? And with the Connexy board, I'll hit edit. It's the same thing. It creates a landing page, but I get to choose which of my Connexy pages do I want to share in this little board, right? And so then I can send that link out. Let's go to view the board. So it creates a little mini. I could search by jobs. Hey, do you have anything in whatever? It searches it, creates a little job listing. This is great for independents and consultants because this one could be for one client. This one could be for another client. If my client just wanted a brand, like when I was doing this for PayPal, it had PayPal's branding. And now I've got multiple boards out there and the whole thing is trackable. I won't go too much into this, but it's really, really cool, right? And there's other things you can do with it, but all this was built with Replit, right? And it works. I'm getting all kinds of stuff, and this will probably be my first SaaS that I grow and try to sell. So that's exciting. Now, the new and improved. This is not your grandpa's ChatGPT. If we got a job like this, we'll use the same job. All right. Now we're going to go to a Chinese company called Manus I, right? Looks like ChatGPT, right? Help me make a landing page that will encourage potential candidates to apply to this job. Now I'm going to paste the job. I like to put hashtags so ChatGPT or any of these AI tools know I'm talking about something else. So pretty simple, right? Let's go. Manus, DeepSeek, GenSpark, blowing everyone away. Okay. At the bottom, so here it is, it's pasted it. Now, what this is actually doing is it's going to its own little computer. ChatGPT or OpenAI just released this yesterday. They just released this yesterday. But Manus says I've been using this for a while. My own little secret. All right. And you get free credits. Here, I'll share this with you now because I'll get 500 credits. But it's building this whole thing. It's not just thinking. It actually has left ChatGPT. I mean, has left AI world. It's got its own little virtual computer out there, and it's just doing this. It's doing this, and it's telling you what it's doing step by step. First, I'm reading this. Okay, now I'm creating a file. These are technical files. Now I'm editing the file. Now you're going to watch this. And what's really, really cool is it's going to build graphics for me. It doesn't go out and look for stock graphs. It goes out there, it gets ideas, and it goes out there and it creates brand new graphics that you can copyright or that can be your own, right? Since this is a Lockheed Martin job, it's looking for some things to fill in the website. This is what is called agentic AI. ChatGPT is trying to get there as of yesterday. But if you tell ChatGPT, hey, go do this, it's going to be like, huh? What do you need? Or if you're on a Copilot, forget it. But this actually goes out. So when you hear the word agentic, that means not only are we chatting, and by the way, we're chatting, but it's also doing a deep research. All right. And that's a different video, but it's usually an upgrade, right? Usually when you're using these tools, like if I go to ChatGPT, I have to say, let me get rid of Canvas. I have to say deep research, right? And I was paying $200 a month, but I canceled it because I've got madness. But you only get so many things. And what deep research does, it actually goes out, looks at the internet, does the research. Typically, when you share something with AI, like a resume or a job description, it looks in little chunks. It's searching for little chunks. So if you said, look for, talent acquisition jobs, it'll look like, 50 words to the left, 40 words to the right. It kind of looks in little chunks. They call that RAG. What deep research does is, no, I'm going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read all your documents. So you get deeper research. It's not just getting snippets. It's going deep, and it takes longer, and it costs more. And so not only are these tools that are agentic, like Manus, DeepSeek, and GenSpark, not only they're out there doing the research. When it does something, it doesn't come to you like ChatGPT and say, "Hey, I don't know what to do next." It goes out there and figures it out. It figures it out, and it builds the code, and then it publishes it, right? So what I showed you in ChatGPT using Canvas, it was kind of like, yeah, you could share it internally. What this is going to do is build whatever it is you're building ready to share it if you wanted it to. I hope all this is making sense. I hope this is valuable to you. Let's see. Right away, while this is building, I'm just going to show you GenSpark. You see this looks different, right? This thing will make calls for you. You could upload a spreadsheet. The agent will say, what do you want me to say? Tell them I'm with Recruiter DNA. Tell them I'm looking for this job. If they don't answer, leave them a voicemail. And it just does it. Its own voice. It just goes. No more connecting other tools. Now, it's expensive. You have to pay for it. I don't use this when I make my calls. But that is what agentic AI is about. This thing connects with all my tools. It'll create spreadsheets, create code, create podcasts, create images, create videos. I've made commercials using these AI tools for my own projects, right? That is the cutting edge, not AI Copilot, not ChatGPT, right? Everyone else is catching up to it, right? So, yeah, let's check on Manus. I mean, look, it's going into a Linux sandbox. It's getting ready to publish. Now, what's cool about Perplexity, Claude, and these tools is if you go to, I'll go back to Manus, they've got these pre-built playbooks, right? So if you want to do research, market research, all you got to do is put in the object, the target market, and it's going to build you a landing page. I don't want you to rebuild it. I just kind of wanted to see it. See how it's actually taking control of the computer? It's going to get up. It's doing all these things real fast. It's building research on the fly, but it's real research. Okay, so it's updating the research. It's finding everything. I'm trying to see which builds faster. But it'll go out there and do deep analysis. And so it looks like it's done. What you want to do is look for the link. So it just built this. I mean, look at this. It just built this. It's a live website. And it's used deep research to make sure these numbers are correct. So if this doesn't blow you away, I don't know what it is. Lead gen. I mean, think about this. So when I talk to these recruiting teams when they want to take my training and they're like, no, we're pretty good on AI. I'm like, really? Are you building these landing pages for your candidates? Are you building these reports for your hiring managers? Are you doing deep analysis? No. Is everything coming out on brand? No. All right. This is the future. By the way, hey, Larry, I want to edit this. You go here, you click edit. I didn't like when I did that. You could actually just edit the page. Because this is someone else's version, but you could just edit it and start changing the words, add your logo, all that stuff. Let's see how we're doing here. I feel like I'm running a cooking show. There it is. No, is it? It's almost done. Look, it's building our one page from job description to landing page. And at some point, sometimes you need to log in. Like if I were having this go through LinkedIn to do my lead gen for me or go through an ATS, whatever, sometimes you need to log in. You can always take control, log in, and then let it do its thing. I had 2 ATSs one time and I needed to move everything over. And so I said, hey, go to this job. Whenever I get a new job, go to my ATS and fill all this stuff out. Let me know if you have any questions. And I just have it working on one computer and I'm doing something else. Right. So anything that's slowing you down, that's why people say that these things can do work. Right. So if you're a leader, an entrepreneur, owner of a company, you start thinking about your company as inputs and outputs. What does a coordinator do? What does a sourcer do? Like, what are the inputs? What do they get? Well, they usually get the job from the ATS and some notes. Okay, what do you expect them to output? Well, I want them to make a project in LinkedIn Recruiter. We have a sourcing tool, make a project, create a search string, and create the email campaign, and then send it. That's what sourcing is. You're crazy if you think that this isn't already automated. It's already automated. I'm a one-person show, but I can have 500 of these agents working at once, right? So the key is to separate. This goes back to my time at Zappos when we implemented Holacracy, which was a organizational framework. It separated the people from the work. And it said, okay, like I had a sourcing team. First of all, we all got together and said, what do we expect from sourcing? What's our goal of our pod? Well, it's to do this. And how are we going to do that? This is what we're going to do. What are the functions needed? Well, someone's got to post the job. Someone's got to do this. Someone's got to reply. Okay. And what would success look like? Well, I would think every week they'd have to do this. And then we did it manually. Now that same definition of work gets inputted into these agents and it does the work. It emails, it calls, it takes calls, it takes emails. Oh, but it's going to lose the human touch. Well, I guess here it is, allow for the task. If you haven't trained it to be like your best person, your most empathetic person, then it is going to sound bad. All you got to do is deconstruct the core work that you do and then rebuild it. And you can have tools like this. I don't have time to do this, Larry. I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to do this. Really? There it is now ready. There's the live website. It's almost ready. But I hope you're seeing this aha moment. And if your company isn't doing this, your competitors are. If you're in a department, your hiring managers are going to be expecting this. What do you mean Jane hasn't had time to update the spreadsheet yet. You don't have an agent for that? Well, no, we haven't gotten to that. Well, why not? So here it is. Stop scrolling. So we turn a job description into this landing page. I don't know about you. That looks pretty sharp. If you need to make edits, you just come in here and edit it. You just change it. So talent acquisition, recruiting teams, you don't need to hire web developers anymore. You don't need to hire marketing. Define your voice, define your brand, reverse engineer it. Every step of the recruitment and sales process, if done correctly, can be at least semi-automated, and you can have your person empowered to do this. All right. I have not shown you in full automation that we build. I have not showed you all these things. I'm trying to show you very logical, what just me, one person, can do by spending a lot of time. So I hope you found this valuable. You can go to recruiterdna.com. That is the community that supports my AI recruiter training. It's free to join, right? And I think you had to join to see this. And then that's where you can have access to the paid training. Please contact me. I really am trying to find my audience, which is growth-minded people who are willing to say, I want to do this, right? You can learn this, but you've got to be all in. You've got to be willing to do this. So awesome, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend. And hopefully we'll do this again. Thanks.